What's up, family? This is your brother Speech. I wanted to give an update on Nigga Factory Part 3. First of all, my goal was to do one episode per every maybe 6-7 months. And let me make sure this thing still works. And for those that have seen episode 1 and 2, you could tell that I have not done one in probably a year now. And I just wanted to give an update on what all has happened. So a lot has happened. Some people were wondering if I was targeted by some nefarious, organization or person to try to keep this information from getting out. And the truth of the matter is possibly, but I don't know. I'll give details on that in just a second. So, I put out part 1 and the response was overwhelmingly great overall. On YouTube itself, I got flagged, and YouTube and Facebook, I got flagged for using the word nigga, which I find amazing because, first of all, I use the word to describe the derogatory fact of using that word and the derogatory realities of what that word has become to mean for the black community. And it wasn't just glorifying the word. But I got flagged. And I find it ironic because so much of the music that I'm trying to make people aware of the damage that this is doing to the community and to our world, so much of the music uses this term, constantly. And in so many other terms, bitch, hoe, you name it. I mean, it's more terms than I care to say. So I found it ironic that I got flagged with both. But the response was still cool to some extent. On my personal YouTube page, it maxed out at around 300 and 200,000 respectively between part 1 and part 2. 300 and something thousand, 200 and something thousand. The truth is, there's other videos on YouTube that reach well over 1 million. And I think Nigga Factory should do that. I think the content is compelling enough and people feel one way or another about this issue enough to where I think it could easily have gone more viral. But I'll give props to various blogs and stuff that reposted it and they got way more views. So there's a African Diaspora Network on Facebook that posted it. They got well over 1 million views alone. There's Boyce Watkins posted it. He got a lot of views. Various people have posted it online and, have gotten a lot of views even above what I get. And I would love for mine to get that kind of view. So I really hope if you guys know people that haven't seen it yet, spread the word. Share the video. I would love for the message to still get out. I wanted to say the update on part 3 right quick. As soon as I finished part 2, I started working hard and diligently on part 3 and got it done and started contacting my team who films and edits and helps me to get all of the visuals right and get it to everybody. We started that probably a year ago. And a lot of things happened. One of the things was that my team of people that I work with started working on other jobs. They were getting bigger paying jobs in various places. Some of them had career changes all together. So I was losing team members that I usually work with, and they were going to other job sites and things and projects. And then also, after that, so that was taking months. So month after month, I was trying to get the right team. I was trying to give some of the guys who were willing to work on this project, give them time to be able to spend time on it, because it's a very post-production heavy procedure. And there's a lot of editing that goes on for the Nigga Factory. And so I was trying to give them time, and at the same time they were working new jobs. So I was trying to give them a nice window of time to get acclimated with their new job, and at the same time work on this on the side, and we just keep it moving. That was going all right, but it was taking way more months than what I planned. So I kept talking to my team about, hey, we need to get this going. We need to get this going. So then by December of last year, we got to the place where we were filming, me and, I filmed my parts, and, I'm getting everything ready. And all of a sudden, January comes and there was still a holdup. And February comes, hold up. March came, and April, and of course, COVID hit. And the COVID-19 pandemic was unlike anything that any of us had ever been through in our lifetimes. And so everything froze. And so I say the nefarious things like behind the scenes. I don't know why my team was not able to finish various things in the prior months before COVID, but I know about COVID. So once COVID hit, I had a meeting with my team and I was like, listen, we really need to go on and knock this out. And as we looked at the material, some of it felt outdated because by then George Floyd had been murdered by the police. There was worldwide protests that expanded way beyond any protest in the history of mankind, any recorded protest in the history of mankind. And that wasn't in my script and my whole one sheet of the Nigga Factory Part 3. So we felt like we needed to reapproach it. And I do Nigga Factory, my part of it, on a program called Pro Tools. For those that's in the music business, you know clearly what that is. But my Pro Tools stopped working. My laptop computer, literally burnt from the inside. The battery exploded and it started to warp. And I had to put my computer in the shop. Again, my team was going through things that were unusual and weird. And long story short, I needed to get my Pro Tools back running in order for me to update the Nigga Factory 3 to include all of the things that have been happening since George Floyd's death. And that's basically what has been going on. If you know anything, there's a book that's out. It's called, I think it's called The Economic Hitman. And if you know anything about certain ploys that happen in order to halt or delay conscious and unification-oriented materials from getting out to the masses, there is basically underground ploys that are happening throughout the world in order to make sure that things don't get out. And so that could have been what happened, but I don't know. So meanwhile, I will say that the Nigga Factory campaign has by far been the most controversial work that I've ever done. From the very first Arrested Development album, I got some flack as the MC of the group. I got flack because of my stance on helping us as Black people be accountable for us. I believe in self-determination, and what that entails is just what the word says: self-determined, self-determined, self-determined. I do focus on the outside forces that are slowing down our progress or halting our progress or even pulling us backwards. I do speak about those things in my music, and I have since the first album, but I don't allow that to be my only focus for two reasons. One is it's no longer self-determination if I'm doing music that is trying to encourage an outside force to do better by us. And then number two, I've not seen any great examples of black people relying on mainstream culture to do right by us for the long term. And especially if we don't have our ducks in a row as a community. So I've not decided to focus on that too much. And in hip hop, the trend was once that we all had diverse voices. And I talk about that on Nigga Factory too. So I could have my view, but another artist could have his or her view, and it could be, no, we need to lay hard on the system and the system only. Another artist could have the view, look, we never talk about our dirty laundry in the public as a black race, and so we might talk about it in some private place, but we're not going to talk about it in public. And another view could be like, I don't care about politics, and so on and so forth. So hip hop over time, however, has trended towards this whole thing of basically we're all supposed to have one view about our oppression and about black people, and well, really two views. You don't care about it and they're never going to talk about it in your music, or if you do talk about it, you're only going to blame the system and you never will talk about self-accountability and things that we can critique in our own communities and things that we should be doing better as a race of people. That has changed. And so the landscape has changed so much that I'm getting tons of flack from fellow hip hop artists who basically now look at me as a coon or a sellout. I've been accused of respectability politics, which is this concept of I want us to do better as a people because I am above us and I am condescendingly talking about the poor or condescendingly talking about gangsters or thugs. And I have I come from a silver spoon and I am high on a horse and I feel that I'm better than everybody. And I'm doing all of this in order to please the white man or to please the white people and to make them feel better about us. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that has become a narrative that has stuck. And so now, as a black artist and many black artists, you simply can't talk about what we're doing wrong as black people without that being equated with respectability politics and playing to white people somehow. Which is horribly dangerous, because now what has become popular is we simply can't, if we have a cancerous cell in our community or something that is dangerous in our own community, we can't talk about it, because if we do, it will become interpreted as we're trying to side with white people who already maybe talk about these things in our community. So if I talk about black on black violence, which it's another thing that has become popular, there's no such thing as black on black violence in many people's theories now, because they say, well, no one talks about white on white violence. And for me, I look at it like, okay, first of all, there is white on white violence, whether they talk about it or not, it's a fact. There is black on black violence, whether we want to talk about it or not, it's a fact. And so we could talk about these things and without negating the fact that it's not exclusive to us. So when we talk about black on black violence, there is intra-racial violence in every race. But if we choose to talk about it because we're striving to magnify the fact or put a magnifying glass on the fact that we're killing each other in bigger rates, by the way, than white on white violence. So we often say, well, there's the same, so it cancels each other out. It doesn't cancel each other out. The fact of the matter is that white on white violence is less than black on black violence by a number of percentage points, less than 10% points, but it's still less. We need to deal with it. Not to mention, there's way more whites in this nation than there is blacks. And so when black on black violence happens, a lot of times we are all more affected by it. We don't have as many pockets of black realities. A lot of blacks, when we get together as a people and party or do something, we're going to be affected by it. If I was to ask most black people, So, yo, if you've ever been to black parties, what tends to happen at the end of that party? And I don't know about this era, but the era I grew up in, most of us would be able to resoundingly say together, oh, it's going to be a gunfight, or it's going to be some fight that's going to break up the party. If I was to ask black people, at least of my generation, what tends to happen to the club that we all love going to, the response is going to be, when we were younger, the response is probably going to be, well, it got shot up and it closed down because of violence. So black and black violence is a very personal thing. It's not just a statistical thing that we bring up in order to dog black people. I love black people. My whole life has been dedicated to uplifting us. But to suggest, therefore, that if I bring up realities that we face as a people, that I'm somehow a sellout now, these things are just so anti-black advancement that it blows my mind that we fall victim to these types of things. So I say all of that to say, Nigga Factory does that. I talk about a lot of the pathologies, negative pathologies, and a lot of the dysfunction that is killing us within, internally, in our communities. Whether it be the things that we're allowing our kids to be exposed to, whether it be the heroes that we lift up on a platform in our community as some type of thing to idolize and imitate, whether it be the themes that we consistently push in our media that talks about blacks killing each other, selling drugs to one another, women being hoes for the night and nothing more. No mediums about marriage as much. I shouldn't say none. There is some, but not enough, I should say, songs and mediums about marriage and about long-term commitment and love and things that help to nurture. Because just like our bodies, our communities need nourishment. It doesn't need just entertainment and just food in a sense. It needs food that actually has nutrients. So I know I'm not crazy when I say that, but talk to my critics and you would think that I'm crazy because I say that we need more content that is giving us something, not just taking from us and not just feeding us carbohydrate rich food that has no nutrient substance. And that's what a lot of our music has become. So I get it. I get smoke from hip hop artists who for some reason we were cool back in the day, but as this trend has turned into what it has become, they no longer are cool with me. And I mean a lot of them, and especially the conscious community. They either ignore me, meaning the conscious hip hop artists, they either ignore me or they write me off as some type of dude that just doesn't get it. And I'm like, I'm so frustrated by that, but that's what happens now. So I ask brothers and sisters to get on records with me, and they don't want to get on a record with me. I ask brothers and sisters to, check out my new material and maybe plug it to their following, and they don't want to do that. So it's like, have I been blackballed? I don't think so personally, but you never know. And have I been misunderstood? Yeah, I think so. And it's sad because I have such a love for all of the artists. It's one of the reasons why on all of my Nigga Factory episodes, I insisted to blur out the faces. Not that you as a viewer may not know who the face is. It's because the message for me was that it's not about this particular artist. It's about the imagery, the content, the lack of nutrients that we are feeding so consistently. And so I want to say one more thing. I'm not at all saying, nor have I ever said, that I don't want artists to speak about their lifestyle, what they grew up with, whatever they want to speak about. I am not here to filter artists. So my message is not, well, everyone needs to be a conscious black artist. Not at all. In fact, that would be hell on earth to me. What I would appreciate is if we could get to a healthy place of diverse thought. We as a community of black people, It's often said that we are not monoliths. We're not monolithic. We don't have one frame of thought. And I agree with that. But in music, it has become that we almost all have to have this exact same frame of mind in order to coexist or to get promotion and get love, in a sense, within the music scene. And it's sad because I know that not all of us are going to talk consciousness. There will always be pimps and drug dealers. There will always be, however, educated, some spiritual, whether Islamic, Yoruba, or Christian people in our community. There will always be political people in our community. Our music needs to reflect all of that, and not just underground. Some of the new generation who was born in the 90s, y'all don't understand that what you are witnessing is not how it always was. And I, as an elder and an older person in this hip hop world, I gotta help you understand that it has not always been that, oh, the conscious music is relegated to the underground and the party music is what most people want to hear, and that's relegated to the pop mainstream side of things. That's a new phenomenon. What I try to say in part 2 of Nigga Factory is that consciousness was always part of the mainstream paradigm in black music and in hip hop. Marvin Gaye was mainstream in the 60s and 70s. Public Enemy was mainstream in the 80s and 90s. Arrested Development was mainstream. I'm not saying we did pop music. We did underground, credible music, but it was accepted in the mainstream along with the MC Hammers and along with the Two Live Crews and the Too Shorts. That was why it worked, because it represented the diversity of our community. But when you have only the thug element or stripper element or ratchet element being what's called black culture, we're in deep trouble right here. So that's my update on Nigga Factory 3. I am actually planning during this COVID break, because none of us as artists are able to tour. By the way, I hope y'all saw the DJ Cassidy Pass the Mic Volume 2 episode. It's banging. It's got Arrested Development, me, Ishi, and Roz from Arrested Development. It's got, I'm not going to give you but anyway, look it up. DJ Cassidy, Pass the Mic Volume 2. It's a celebration of hip hop music. Stream that and share it. I have a few things to say and I'm out of here. I got to grab some breakfast. 1, share Nigga Factory 1 and 2 with as many people as you possibly can. 2, peep out my solo music, and I'm about to drop an Arrested Development album. We're about to drop both of those in late August or early September. The solo album is called Expansion, and the Arrested Development album is called Don't Fight Your Demons. Share it. Get the music out there to the people. It's good, great music. It's refreshing. I think you'll love it. Share it, share it, share it, share it. And then 3, my queen, myself, my daughter, my sister-in-law started a podcast called Speeches Everyday People Podcast. Check it out on the channel. Share it. We talk about everyday pop culture type stuff. I tried to make it light, but still heavy at certain points, enough that it has some substance. Tell me what you think about it. Check it out. Spread it out there. Get it out there. One of the things that hip-hop artists need in this day and age, hip-hop artists from the golden era, is we need more fans of ours to share our stuff. I love y'all. Peace and strength. Have a great day. Peace.